Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second segment of our get-together after Christmas. Now, I want to take you back about 3 weeks or so before Christmas, when a tornado roared through a portion of our country, bringing with it death and destruction. Some towns will never recover. Ironically, I work closely with a woman who, her roots are embedded in Mayfield, Kentucky, or what's left of it. Emily Spivy, who is our director and producer on this show. Emily, good to see you again.
Oh, good to see you too, Sam.
Never see you on camera, so it's good to have you here. Mayfield is your hometown, is it not?
Yes, I was born there and I lived the first 26 years of my life in Mayfield.
Altogether, 77 people died in that tornado.
Yes.
And the media's gone now. A lot of the folk are gone that had homes there, that survived it. You decided to go pay a visit to your dad. Your dad's still in the area.
Yes.
And you shot video for us, which we're very grateful for. If you would, roll the video and let's talk about what we're seeing.
Okay, well, this is the More Than a Memory sign that's on Broadway. It's on the side of the old Exchange Bank building. And here is the vicinity of where the candle factory was located. We couldn't get close to it because it was barricaded, but that's where several of the people in Mayfield perished. And this is still along what they call the Highway 80 bypass, which is close to the candle factory and the Mayfield granary. And there's World Tower. They make, transmission towers for TV and radio stations. That's part of their demolished facility.
Is the radio and TV station still there?
Yeah, because the TV station's in Paducah. The local station is from Paducah. That's the Mayfield granary. And then here we are, we're just inching around through town. Some of the street signs are gone. And as you can see, we took some pictures out of the side of my dad's truck. But this is just some of the small neighborhoods before we get
Emily,
to like 7th Street.
Have they categorized this tornado? Was it an F5?
EF4.
EF4.
It was 195 miles an hour. So 5 miles an hour short of an EF5.
It's amazing anybody even survived it.
The local radio stations and the TV stations, especially WPSD, did a great job of sending out early warnings. And a lot of people credit that to them surviving because they were very serious and very stern with their warnings.
Well, you said a couple of things when we talked about this that I want to bring up. First of all, your dad's home was not in the center of this.
No.
But it was close enough for, as they could say, close enough for television.
Yes.
Did he hear it?
He said the weird thing was that there was a lot of noise, and then when the tornado actually hit town, I don't know how it worked, but because of the side of the tornado he was on, it was silent. Dead silent for him. And this used to be the old community hospital in Mayfield. That's where I was born. They had turned it into a retirement home. And the second floor, or some of the second floor on the back side of it is gone.
And that's all that's left of the hospital?
The old hospital. They have a new hospital that luckily did not get touched.
Good Lord. Are there people still living in Mayfield?
Yes, yes. It went...
How? How in the world are they living?
The communities that are on the north and south side, they are still okay. This is one of the oldest churches in Mayfield here, the First Presbyterian Church. And as you can see, it demolished, it even demolished the sign saying it's the oldest church. And look, there's a CVS, and then there's
They have to go outside of Mayfield to get groceries and supplies to come back into nothing.
They can go to the Walmart on the south side of Mayfield. But as we just saw in this video, this is part of the court square. The CVS, the only thing touched on it was the sign. So if I want my house built out of whatever they used at CVS to withstand this. I used
Jason,
to do, yeah.
Is your husband Jason, does he have family up there?
He has family that live closer to Benton, which the tornado also hit Benton, but it missed his family. So
That's
they're
a good
safe.
thing.
The
So many
mayor-
people are
yeah.
suffering through this. And in some of the interviews we saw immediately following the touchdown of the tornado, it was clear to all of us who were not familiar with Mayfield, it was very clear that the people were in shock. And today, we're not seeing any people at all. Where are they?
Some people are actually sheltering in their homes, and some people have moved. The state lodges are allowing people to stay. Some are with friends, some are just hiding out in their own homes. And this is the courtroom at the Grace County Courthouse where I served jury duty once. It is gone. And you can just see how it just kind of ripped the courtroom right out of the middle of the courthouse.
It's the most amazing thing.
And it's a good thing this happened at night and not during the day, because that whole area would have been packed. And
I know
yeah.
tornadoes do strange things, Emily. Many years ago, probably before you were born, I covered a tornado in Paris, Arkansas. I'm sorry, in Charleston, Arkansas. And it was a smaller tornado. Probably back then they classified it as an F2, F3 maybe. But I remember one of the first things we saw was a house that looked like somebody taken a knife and just cut it half in two. And what caught our attention was on the wall that was still part of the house. Up next to the wall was a couch. And above the couch was a picture of the Last Supper. And it didn't touch it. It was still hanging there. Did you see many things like that when you were up there?
I saw like a rack of clothes in an apartment that was still just hanging there. There's video, if you look online from the First National Bank, there's video of the surveillance cameras from the inside of the bank when the tornado blew the door open and threw the Christmas tree across the room.
No kidding.
Yeah, and this right here is around Broadway. And just, you have to watch where you step, because in some places they've picked up some debris and other places they have not yet. Just, it's massive. There's just so much stuff. And what hit me was kind of the smell when I walked around. It wasn't like rotten or anything, but it just smelled kind of mildewy, I guess, because things were wet from rain that shouldn't have been wet. And that was a little off-putting. And then
I remember you talking about the smell, which is common. You don't hear much of that on network news, but it is something that accompanies the damage and the afterwards of any tornado stricken area.
Yeah, and then there's a few historic buildings that are going to have to come down. I think they're going to condemn the courthouse. I'm not 100% sure, but about 90%. And then there's a building that we saw a few frames earlier that was the Hall Hotel. And then look at this truck. This truck, wood went right through the windshield. And then you've got power lines down. Luckily, those are disconnected. I don't know, some of these, it's like, I'm not sure what that was. There's the phone company in the background. There's clothes just hanging up. And then, yeah, that was an apartment. I had a friend that used to live there. She's long since moved. This is part of a restaurant, Carr's Steakhouse. And you can't really tell what it was from that pile of rubble.
There's so much of the damage is total.
Oh yeah.
So it's hard to figure where the people are staying that that live there.
Yeah. And these are like just medical offices. There was a museum. Newspaper was destroyed. So the Paducah is publishing their local newspaper. This is, yeah, there just used to be stuff. And that must have been a safe room, because look at it. It's just standing there alone on that foundation, and the rest of the building is just gone. So somebody is probably thankful they had that room.
Let me ask you this: Were you at any point overcome? by what you saw. I know I would have been had I been going through my hometown and seen all the devastation of what had once been a nice town.
Yeah, I walked around and I was sad. When it really hit me the day after, when I saw what the tornado had actually done, when I saw it on the 11th on the news in daylight, I actually just sat in front of my computer and just wept at some of the things that were on YouTube and Facebook and other media outlets had posted.
How's your dad holding up?
This was the first time he had gone to see the center of town, and it made him very sad because he's lived around there for almost 74 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was disturbing for him.
So you had no family there?
Not anybody. I have friends that lost businesses. I have friends who had damage, but they're okay. Mentally, they're probably still in a bit of shock over everything.
Emily, we got about 45 seconds before we get out of here and let you get back to what you normally would be doing. Is there anything folks can still do at this late date to help the victims there?
Right now, the biggest need is housing. Even though their lodges and places can take people in, they're full. So we need housing, they need fuel, and they need transportation. Right now, food and immediate needs are more or less being met.
All right.
All right.
Emily, we're out of time. I'm sorry. I wish we had more. Thank you for sharing your visit home.
You're welcome.
With us and the rest of the folks back in this part of the world. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's all the time we have, folks. Thank you for being a part of it, and we'll see you next week.